So growing up, I never actually really used too much in the way of headsets other than for voice chat. And so what I mean was I never really used actual gaming headsets that I would use to actually listen to the game. So as I gotten older, however, and I have kids, this is something that's become something that I've become more interested in getting into, purely because I can't have my soundbar and subwoofer pounding at 8 o'clock at night when I got a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old going to sleep. So I recently picked up the Xbox wireless headset for my Xbox Series X, and for the purpose of this review, I'm going to really only be looking at it for that, since that's the main device I play on. And I'm going to go over the pros and cons of this device, and if it's worth you picking it up as well for your Xbox or PC or Xbox One or whatever device you're gaming on. So watch this video and also let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe if you enjoy this content. Let's take a look. So to start off is a quick unboxing of this headset. So it's pretty straightforward. You have the headset in here. You take out the back piece here. We got a couple manuals. I actually pulled out the wires right after filming this. But basically you get a USB-C wire to charge this headset. I charged it in full before trying it just to give it a proper play test. Now, as far as the setup goes, it's pretty straightforward. You have a green button on this that almost acts like your Xbox button. And basically you press this or hold this down, headset flashes, you press the Xbox synchronize button, that flashes, and then they sync up and you're connected. The first thing though you probably do want to do though is go to the sound settings once this is connected, because when I set it up, it actually put it at default for stereo headset. So I actually changed it to the Windows Sonic settings, because that actually allows you to have some of the spatial sound settings or the surround sound settings for the headset. There's also other options or applications you can use as well with this headset, such as DTX, and I'm going to get into that in a moment. The headset itself is pretty straightforward. I like that to change the sound or the audio levels between both the gameplay and the sound overall, you have dial knobs on the left and the right headphones itself. You also have a quick physical mute button that's attached underneath the actual microphone. So pretty straightforward, but I like the way it's integrated into the headset itself. Now, as far as the actual comfort level of this headset, it uses almost like a neoprene / faux leather. It's quite soft actually, and I found once I got it adjusted for my head, this was a pretty comfortable feeling headset, and I've used it for some pretty hour-long sessions, and I have no complaints on how it feels overall. Now, as far as the sound goes, this is where a bit of preference as well as toying around with this headset is going to really matter. So overall, from the stereo headset setting to the Windows Sonic setting, it sounds relatively crisp. It sounds overall crisp. I didn't have any crackling in this, even when I was in intense battle scenes like in Call of Duty or Gears of War. So that's good. But there are a couple different choices that it comes down to when it comes to hearing this headset and how to process that. So what I mean is, you have Windows Sonic, you have Dolby Atmos, which I did not test for the purpose of this review, and then you also have DTS-X for the headphones. I actually did, for the purpose of this review, try DTS-X as a setting for this headset. And I did flip between that and the Windows Sonic software sounds, and I found that between the two of them, the DTS definitely edges it out. And so I found between both of them, the spatial sound settings were pretty much on par. I tried it in both Call of Duty and Gears 5 quite exclusively, and I found that I couldn't really tell any difference between either of them. However, with DTS overall, it almost adds like a slight, almost auditorium processing sound, and that might sound a little weird, but it makes the game's overall sound crisper and almost like you're playing it in a room with, 5.1 or 7.1 surround sound with a high-end or a good sounding sound system, versus the Windows Sonic, which sounded a little bit more flat through the headphones. Now, where this might become a thing that might be a point of contention for some people is to use DTS for this headset. You're looking at about a $30 extra charge that you got to spend to do that. Whereas the Windows Sonic setting, that comes free with your Xbox. That's a free to use software, I guess you can call it, for the headphones. So really that might come down to preference. I do recommend, if you do pick up these headphones, trying both of those, because you can get the DTS on a free trial. So I would recommend trying both of them and seeing really what you think about the difference in sound quality between the two of them. Now, the next thing that I also really like about these headphones is I found that the battery life seems like it's really good. So it was advertised at around 15 hours. I believe I've tried it just at that amount, and they're just now dead, and I've had to recharge them. So to me, that's a substantial amount of playtime. I rarely would ever sit down that long in one session to play them. So most times it's probably just going to be sitting charging anyways. So for me, I think there's more than enough battery life packed into these headphones. Now, where things kind of get a little wonky, though, with these headphones comes down to the amount of bass. So, I actually owned the previous Xbox stereo wired headset for my Xbox One, and I did use it a bit on my Series X, and that was actually one of my complaints with those same headphones was I thought the bass was a little too pronounced. Now, I feel like they toned it down a bit, but it still feels very loud in these headphones, and it feels very in your face, especially in Call of Duty. Every gun sounds like it's almost too loud when you're firing it. And that comes down to the way the bass is processed through these headphones. So for some people that might turn you off a bit. For me, it wasn't a deal breaker, but I almost wish I could have controlled that piece directly just to make it a little bit more easier for my ears, I guess. Now, I also thought that one of the downsides to these headphones is there seems to be a slight delay, and I don't know if that's unique to this wireless headset or all wireless headsets as they run through the Xbox and the way they're connected, but there seems to be just a slight sound delay. Now, it's not enough to make it feel like everything's completely out of sync, but it is just slight enough that it's noticeable when you're firing weapons and you're just playing any game in general. That's something that might turn people off of this headset, and I completely understand that. And I thought maybe it was just something to do with it's like a setting that I had, but I did try using actual plugged-in headphones in comparison, and I didn't find or listen to that delay even using the exact same settings with those headphones. So I don't know exactly what that is. Maybe it'll be fixed in an update, but as it stands, there's definitely a slight delay. Now, the last thing I want to revisit here is things that I dislike is that there is the DTS option, which I think is the better option for the way the headphones process and output the sound, but again, it's another $30, and these headphones, I actually got them on sale. I think they were like $110 down from $130 Canadian, but when you really do the math there, it can start to really add up if you're having to spend an extra $30 to get the superior experience, or what you might feel to be the superior experience, using DTS. So that might be something that might turn some people off. Now, you might actually try that with the Windows Sonic setting and think that the Windows Sonic setting is better. I do think there's a bit of preference there. For me, though, I felt like DTS was worth it enough that it's worth spending the $30 for me, but I think that's also a subjective thing as well. But it does suck that if you're like me and you think that's a better option, that you will have to kick in that extra $30 to get the superior experience for you as a gamer. So overall, I'm going to say that I think this headset, it feels comfortable. I overall think it mostly sounds crisp with the exception of the overpowering bass in some cases. And I think that with the DTS setting and all the other options that are built into this headset, if you're in the market for an affordable wireless headset, I think this is a good choice. I think that it's not going to be as good as some of the more top tier or higher end headsets that are out there, but for what it is and for the price range, I think this is a good choice if you're looking at having a good dedicated gaming headset for your Xbox without really breaking the bank too much.